look, there's an abundance of pussy. I know we have this lack mindset around pussy, but there's a lot of pussy out there. And
I'm glad you said that. There's a ton of pussy.
You know,
there's a lot of women.
like there really is like this lack mindset around like the availability of people that want to have sexual relationships. Like there really is, and that's why men and women like approach each other so differently, is because like women are constantly being catcalled, and like we know that there's all of these options out there that we don't necessarily want, and then men are just like, I got complimented today, like what is this? Like it's just such a disparity.
Well, there's a couple of things there. So I agree, yes, there's an abundance of that's a weird way of saying it. There's a prevalence of a lack of abundance mindset.
Yes.
Particularly with men. Particularly. I mean, and a lot of people would say that one of the main reasons we have that in society right now is a little thing called Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
So a buddy of mine, Rollo Tomasi, who I had in the show yesterday, actually, he says porn is to men what social media is to women. So look, let's break that down really quickly. So, like, a man's prerogative is to get like the ideal for a man is like unlimited sexual access.
Yeah.
Right. Biologically, like that's what men are driven towards. Like, if you could snap your fingers and give a man unlimited sexual access at any moment, at any time, he would take it because that's his ideal. And that is basically what pornography gives guys. It gives them like kind of a simulation of that, right? That's why guys get very habitual with porn usage. But Instagram in particular is the same thing for women because it's unlimited attention, unlimited validation. Because you're a perfect example. The thumbnail I used for this very video was from your Instagram. You put up a cute selfie and you will get constant attention from thirsty men all over the internet. And same thing applies for like a Facebook photo, a Twitter photo,
anything that you get likes from, essentially.
Exactly. But that's like attention for women is the equivalent of sex for men. These two things, these are two, because men don't really like. And this was a concept that was only introduced to me recent, like in the last year. This concept was thrust into my head, but it is so true because women don't value sex as much the same way that men value sex, and men don't value attention the same way women value attention. And you can tell that by their actions. You can tell it by what people do and what they value.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Because a woman will like. Right now, I'm sure you have thousands of thirsty men in your inbox who would sleep with you at the drop of a hat, right? But you don't value sex like that. So it's like, well, who gives a shit? Right?
Especially like after being in porn, like I've always had a really interesting view towards sexuality. Like I had sex when I was younger to connect with people. It felt good, but it was more of like the connection that I valued. So I really... that is one thing that allowed me to be more of a hypersexual person, is like I like eliciting reactions from people. Like I just want to see that you're like whatever I'm doing to you is making you feel some sort of way that's like enjoyable. And so that's why I like BDSM too, is like you get to experience like multiple different ways of like kind of like playing with people. You get to be this sweet cocksucking slut, or you can just like be sounding a man, and like they love that. And it's just so fascinating to me, like how different like people can be. But like I see sex more as a tool, you know, to like essentially to either like sex is either it's fun sometimes, or there's this, it's a means to an end a lot of the times, which I find a lot of sex workers kind of feel that way in general. It's just like,
well, if you're making money from sex, then obviously that's the case, yeah.
But even not making money for like sex, it really does get more into that when you're making money off of sex. But when it comes to being in relationships too, it's like, if I'm like in a really hypersexual mood, like there's that element of pleasure and enjoyment, but there's really like that connection that I like, versus like for men, they're just like, it feels great. Like I feel like that is a difference. I feel like for sure.
Sex can be very validational.
Yeah, yeah, you feel seen, you know? If a person's able to look you in the eyes too, that's another thing that like makes really a big difference between porn sex and regular sex is like when you're looking people in the eyes in porn, sometimes it's almost like the other person's looking past you, you know, like they're not looking at you, they're looking past you
because they're trying to look good for a camera.
They're trying to look good for the camera, yes, but also there's like this disconnect sometimes, and then when it's in your regular sex life, they're just like there's like you're almost like laser beaming each other's eyes because you're just like there's that intensity.